Hi, Tom.
Hello, Kevin.
Welcome back in our studio. It's a yearly tradition.
Yeah.
Um, I look back at some of your predictions of last year's, and I must say you're mostly spot on. And I was wondering, because in the past we already talked about AI, and AI
Yeah.
is still a big topic, but for you as a trend watcher, is AI still a trend, something you keep looking at, or is it already past and over the hype?
It's interesting. And AI is definitely something that I've been watching for years. I think that at the end of 2022,
Mhm,
with the start of OpenAI, ChatGPT, um, the talk about the hype about
mhm,
AI was faster than I could imagine. And I know I was doing lectures on technology and AI during that time. And all the time asked, who of you use AI? And there was
no
no
one.
response, no one. And then I saw that growing. It was October, November, December, January, February of
It,
2000.
in just a few months,
In
it
just
went crazy.
it
Yeah.
just exploded. And I think the beauty of the system, or the scariness of the system, is that it's learning. It's learning by the amount of people that are using it. So I think that it will not stop. It will only become bigger and bigger and bigger. But is it a hype? If you look at a trend most of the time goes very slowly. And sometimes you have a hype and it comes back, but it always ends up on a higher position than it started.
Mhm,
So sometimes it's watching several waves and then look what's underneath it. And you know that story about people overestimate the power of tomorrow and underestimate the power
mhm,
of the next 10 years, 20 years. So I think, and it's also in the hype cycle of Gartner, we see that generative AI, generating images and text and video, is on the top. Is on the maximum peak of the hype, sometimes a little bit over even.
mhm.
So I suspect that the next months and year, there will be some kind of slowing down. The technology will not slow down, but maybe the use of it will slow down. Maybe there are some laws against it. Maybe there's some like you should expect that there is some kind of elements that gonna slow things down, that are gonna be less
Yeah, if you
interesting.
look at laws alone, copyright
Yeah.
infringements, yeah, it's nobody knows how it will work because
Mm,
the battles need to be fought.
yeah, there are a lot of battles, and I think there's also a big contrast between people who are using it, people are understanding it, and people who are not yet
Mhm,
there. So many people just don't know how it works, or where to go to, or there's such a big difference. And also those people need to have time to come to us and to join the idea of using AI as a way, and the impact on it on every aspect of
mhm.
life is gonna be big. So I keep on monitoring it. I really believe that is gonna be the impact of it is gonna be massive. I truly think that at this moment we can't foresee yet what the impact is gonna be of AI, and sometimes it's a bit scary.
Mhm.
I'm really fascinated today about the AI companionship. If you now already on Snapchat, you have an AI companionship from Snapchat, it doesn't work well, and then it's frustrating. But give it maybe 5 years or 10 years. There's a story of Esther Perel. Esther Perel is one of the most famous relationship
Mhm.
therapy
Yeah.
therapists, and there was a guy called Alex. I can't remember his family name, Alex, this guy went to break up and contacted Esther Perel, but of course Esther Perel doesn't have time to do
Yeah.
this, and that guy was a bit of a nerdy guy and a bit into AI, so he searched for all the data, all the stories, all the podcasts, and all the videos of Esther Perel, and he put it in an AI system and called it AI Esther. And so the AI Esther helped him to go through the breakup. And he talked with AI Esther every day. And Esther Perel later on saw the script and saw what happened. And she was like, "Well, this actually is pretty good."
Mm-hmm.
The problem is about people is they're not so easy to understand from a mathematical point of view. Like they are not average. People do weird things, and we try to explain it, but there's no way you can explain it, and you definitely can't explain this with averages. But if you look at our mental well-being, the market, and people struggling, because maybe we can talk about it later on as well. Yeah, this is incredible. This is wonderful that in the future, maybe a lot of people can first contact their AI therapist before going to.
But the scary thing about this is, I don't know whether you've seen them, but there's 2 Black Mirror episodes about similar things where you lose somebody but bring them back in an AI version and something like that. A few years ago, they looked very futuristic and unrealistic.
Yeah.
But if you see what technology already brings and how close we are to that, I totally agree that big things will come out of AI. But indeed, maybe we're now at the top of the hype, and it will fall back a little bit, giving room maybe for also other technological evolutions we've seen in the past and will come back.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what fascinates me in the event industry or the content makers, there's a girl, Caitlin. She's a Snapchat influencer, 2 million followers. And probably she was tired to all the time respond on all the questions and online. And so she created an AI version of her. AI Caitlin, I don't know, something like that. And it costs you $1 to have a conversation with the AI version. And the AI version can text you, can talk to you, can send pictures to you, everything AI generated, based on all the video of that woman. She earned a lot of money with it. After 7 days, the system went completely loco, because after a few minutes, the system started talking about sex. It was learning from. It was learning.
Always try that.
Learning from the audience. It's like, humans, they want to talk about sex. So they got a little bit of work there. But now the system that she created to do this. By the way, that system is created by a person who's actually, he lost his dad. Same story, lost his dad, and want to keep on talking with his dad. That's why he started that system. And now people like Caitlin is using this. But now that person, is in jail. So I don't know the right story, but I think he's in jail. And the system went down. And now the AI version of Caitlin isn't there anymore. So now people are really, they're going to a breakup because their companion is gone. And not because their companion hates you, not because of the CEO of the software is in jail. It's incredible. It's fun to see how things will evolve. And for me, imagine that one of my favorite authors like Seth Godin, like imagine that there is an AI version or Timothy Ferriss, like an AI version of Timothy Ferriss. And then every time I have a problem in my company, I can talk with AI version of Timothy Ferriss and I can get his thoughts to me. It would be impossible for me to to sit down with Timothy Ferris for 2 hours, for 3 hours to think about my business, but with the AI version. Or think about a guy who's he or she's 14 years old and is dreaming of a football career, and then you can talk with the AI version of company. It can be in your ear, helping you, pushing you further, but also maybe the AI version of Sandra Beccari, who's helping you with a healthy lunch, and so on and so on and so on. So maybe,
But also applications for events, eh?
of course,
Possibly if you organize a conference on a certain topic and have kind of the conference expert on that topic where you can chat with, or some star you feature on your festival where you can have conversations with. It opens a lot of possibilities.
yeah, and maybe it's more easy because in Belgium the worst thing I do a lot of lectures on events, and the worst thing is at the end of my lecture is, are there any questions? Like in Belgium, it's harder. Like damn, and then everybody's quiet. But maybe it's more easy to talk to an AI companion about how you feel with certain trends and certain future visions, and that AI companion can maybe take all the stories of the audience, put it together, put it in certain questions, and then we have questions.
Yeah.
That's on the lips of everybody, but nobody
dares to ask
dares
them.
to ask, like, oh, I would like to see those questions. No, I truly believe in the idea of an AI companionship, and I think that maybe generative AI will slow down a bit. On LinkedIn, all those texts of AI, you just see it. You just see that it's AI generated.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be some slowing down, but on the other hand, I think we are in election year, and
that will be fun. I didn't thought about that.
Generative AI and visuals is going to be part, and deepfake is going to be part of the elections. And what I see today, it's not going to be a gentle election. So I think that there's also a lot of opportunities. So maybe from that direction, there's going to be push down. Like let's slow down. But
okay.
Yeah.
In the backstage talk we had, you said, okay, AI is indeed maybe over the top, but will bring big things in the future. But you also said there are other technologies that are coming back. For example, Bitcoin, blockchain, that kind of things.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward this year and next year to the evolutions in crypto. It's interesting. Every year there seems to be something else that's on top of the mind that everybody asking to write about, to talk about. Today is generative AI. A few years back, it was NFTs and metaverses and crypto and blockchain. But I think it's going to be in April. It's going to be the Bitcoin halving, where the miners get only the half of the money they receive for all their work. So Bitcoin. So there's going to be again a pressure on the market. And what we see in the past, and trend watching is a lot about recognizing patterns. And we see in the past all the time that was the moment that there is a lot of evolutions on the market, prices going up, going down, a lot of articles. So I expect that April, May, there's going to be more articles on blockchain, and maybe in the year ahead, it's going to be more about all those new crypto stories of scams, but also of opportunities. Because I know that a few years back, there were a lot of events thinking about what can we do with NFTs, what can we do with, and maybe they stopped past 3 years. And I should look back into it. I should advise, please
reconsider it.
It's a moment. It's not yet a moment to launch it, but it's the moment to again take a look at it, see what's possible. Because there were no articles written about it. But again, it's like same as AI. The technology kept on growing and kept on being better and better and better. I know that one of the negativity around blockchain was the impact on energy.
Yeah.
If you see, like, for instance, Ethereum, I think that's one of the most popular systems where people can build blockchain crypto on. I think they reduce the use of energy with 99%. Like snap. It's incredible. Imagine that our electric car tomorrow say, "Whoa,
That would be great. Yeah.
99% less energy we're going to use." Like it is incredible. So yeah, there's a lot of great things going on. But the most important thing is based on the patterns of the past is that you can expect the second half of 2024 that there's going to be more stories, more startups, more people who are interested in, and maybe again those stories about, okay, what can we do as an event? Can we give people certain crypto? Can we let them invest in our idea? Can we exchange NFTs and so on? All those, maybe even metaverses. I think that's a bit too soon, but maybe, like maybe, maybe first maybe think of the blockchain again. Yeah, I'm curious, let's say.
I've read you also did some research in the sports industry, which might have a link to the event industry.
Yeah, so Sports Vlaanderen asked me to do research on trends among Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Who's Gen Alpha?
Gen Alpha are the youngest. They're under the age of 12.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, talking with Generation Alpha about the future of mobility, that's not an easy one. Consider a boy or a girl who's 3 years old, like, how do you see the future of mobility? How do you see the future of event industry? What do you think? It's difficult. But we can talk about Generation Alpha, because my colleague is finishing his book on Generation Alpha. He calls Generation Zalpha. It's between Z and Alpha. From the event industry, if you're focusing on people who are teenagers, people in their 20s, that's Generation Z. Generation Alpha are really the youngest. And of course, from sports initiatives, yeah, there are a lot of people who are 5 years old, 6 years old, and it's the first time they go to a club and start playing football or soccer, they start playing tennis, whatever. So it's a very important age for them. We have 11 trends, something like that. It's very interesting, and they can look it up. Sport Vlaanderen. You will see the entire report. It's in Dutch and in English. But one of the trends I thought was very interesting for the event industry is the idea of wild and ugly. How to be attractive for a younger audience. And it's a little bit based on the influence of TikTok for them. Short attention span, snackable content, video, but also AI system that says who can see what. And yeah, what is successful? Most of the time things are successful because it's very wild and ugly. And a goblin mode is one of the words of 2022. Yeah, being gobbly, being weird. So the question is, how can a sport be wild, weird, and ugly? Or in your case, how can an event space be wild and ugly? And maybe we can learn, well, because you can think, okay, well, we do some snackable content. Yeah, okay, art. And please don't ask me that, because I would hate that. Why not give lectures of 5 minutes? Something like that. Not me, by the way. But maybe we can think about, okay, how can we play long? But if you look at sports, there were a few great examples. For instance, Red Bull are thinking about basket, and they're doing now 3-3 play
to make the match shorter.
So they make the match shorter and with less players. So it's fun to watch, it's easy to watch, and it's fast. If you look at Formula 1 races, they're also rethinking, experimenting with new elements, short races, more spectacular, again, to get the attention, because it appears that for a lot of sports games, the attention is too long for a younger
But you did
generation.
the research based on Gen Alpha, Gen Z, that kind of age races. But doesn't it apply to all of us? Because also older generations get used to the fast content. And I must admit, maybe it's the age, that's also possible, but I must admit that my patience to watch a very long movie, to go to a very long event, to my concentration span is getting shorter somehow.
Yeah. First, if you look at generations, it's if you talk about generation is always the average of a certain age group. It's not about you. It's not about it. It's about the average. But what I found interesting, because I'm doing research on youth trends for 20 years, something like that. What I find interesting is that for someone who is 16 years old, 17 years old, something that is existing for 2 years, 3 years, for them, it's normal. For them, it is the only thing that they know. If something exists for 2 years or 3 years, for our age group, it's new.
Yeah.
That's why we keep on talking about new media. What the fuck, new media?
It's just, yeah.
So for us, yes, we are also adapting, but it's slower.
Okay.
And there are differences, but then maybe that's for another edition. So I find it really. One other example was the Tennis Federation in England. Tennis is declining.
Yeah, we are all playing padel now.
We're all playing padel, and watch out for pickleball. That's coming next.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, pickleball. The first in the research question, was the future of it was the future of sports, and you start talking with sport lovers like athletes and organizers, club owners, and they all talked about pickleball. And it's interesting because when everybody say that that's going to be the future, I always get suspicious. What's going on here? But pickleball. Now, no, the tennis federation in England saw that there's a decline in tennis because indeed more and more people are playing padel. So it's not about the racket and the ball; it's just about tennis. And they now launched a campaign that says "Your court, your rules." So you can rent the courts at a tennis court for like an hour, but then you can do what you want. Like, you want to play padel, or do you want to play tennis, or you want to have a tennis racket, or maybe something that you created on your own, like very DIY. You want to do it with 1-on-1 or 2-on-2, or maybe 10 against 10. Your court, your rules. And I really love this idea because I know that a lot of clubs or federations they would not it needs to be in their format. But imagine that you do this for like a one-day event or an afternoon event just to attract a different audience. And maybe amongst their new audience, maybe there is someone who says, you know what? Tennis could be cool.
But I don't know whether you went to that extent in your research, but is it also clear why tennis was a problem? Is it because it's, well, depending on how good you play, it's a long format, or is it just because, oh, it's an old retro game, or is it a combination, or?
I'm not sure, and my research didn't went that far. It was not specific on the future of a certain sport. It was broader.
In general, yeah.
So yeah, I can only it's difficult to get an answer right because I'm not sure. It most of the time when because for instance I don't know if tennis is declining in Belgium. I actually honestly have no clue. But most of the time when a sport is declining, it's not only because of. It has several reasons.
It's a combination.
It's a combination.
No, the reason why I was asking is because if you're an event organizer and you see some decline in attention for your event, it's worthwhile to start looking, okay, where does it come from and what can I do about it? And the trends you share are very insightful already to help look forward and try new angles, try um, new takes on your event, like the tennis federation did with
Yeah.
play by your own rules. It's their interpretation of, okay, something needs to change.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And we need to attract another type of audience. Uh, mm, yeah, to not end that at the end.
Yeah.
No, I think playfulness is a very important aspect in here. Don't take yourself too serious. I know that you're used to certain structures, but keep it fun and see what you can do. And also, do not you don't have to be scared of the ugliness, the weirdness. And you need to get out of your own comfort, because I know a lot of events, everything needs to be clean, everything needs to be beautiful, everything needs to be perfectly prepared. But I don't know how many events I attend every year, but it's a lot. It's one or two a week. If I look back, the greatest experience were experiences that were not organized. It was something that happened. It was something that went wrong. Like, but yeah, have fun. Yeah.
Another thing you brought to my attention we need to talk about today is the way we work.
Yeah.
Flexi jobs are becoming a big thing. Yeah, on the one hand, we have the struggle in the events industry that we need some legal platform to be able to have flexi workers. On the other side, and that's something you know a lot about, is that people want to do flexi jobs. The whole way how we work is changing. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, in the past 2-3 years, I've been doing some research on flexi together with NowJobs. And it's interesting to see that a lot of people in Belgium actually really want to have a second job, feel the necessity to have some extra income. And if you ask people, why do you want a second job? Why you want to do this? Because there's also Netflix.
Yeah.
Why you do this? Then we see, well, the maybe more negative side effect, that there's a lot of people that need a second job.
They just need the money to come around. Yeah.
They just need to survive. And that group is growing, because we saw that in 1 year time, growing from 11 to 17%. So this is growing.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the next data of Wallonie to see how this is evolving over there. But then most of the people who do a second job, they do this because they want something extra. They want to travel, or they want to buy that new piece of technology. Most of them are actually just doing it for that little bit of extra. And then there are other elements, meeting people, that social aspect, like meeting other people.
It's like a hobby.
It's like a hobby, but then you earn something.
It's a better way than need to pay for it.
No, so variation is also interesting. Definitely with people above 30. Imagine that you have a desk office, like you have a job in your computer, and in the weekend or on Friday evening, you just love to have some variation. You like to be surrounded by people. You like to be at an event, working there, walking around, stalking, tapping, whatever. No,
Yeah.
that variation is very, very powerful reason why people do this.
But you said especially above 30.
Yeah.
Does that mean that there is a difference in the age groups?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that if you're 30 and above, you're working for a few years and you're like, yeah, I like the work, but I can use some variation. So that's why they search variation. And maybe it's a good thing, because maybe when they find variation during the weekend, that they can come back on Monday fully energized and doing the same thing all over that they're doing already for a few years. But people in their 20s, we see that they also are searching for something to deeper focus on their actual job. So they are interested in doing a flexi job, maybe with a competitor
In the same
in
industry.
the same industry. And I think that it's interesting because I think a lot of employers don't like that idea. But maybe we can do something with that. Maybe we can. But maybe some companies can work together to think about recruitment, retention, and work with flexis and to share them. Because there's a lot of powerful elements of doing a second job. You get to learn more people. You train skills that you don't train when you're on your only job. So there you have
And not
income.
only for the employee, also for the employer.
Yeah, and also for the employer. People are maybe more happy. Maybe people stay longer with you because you have the flexibility to. So there are several.
But you need to have a more open mind as an employer for your people to also work for the competition.
That's not an easy one, but maybe you can state that there is a possibility that there is an end in employment monogamy. That we're gonna not only choose for one employer, that we're gonna go from the one to the other, and maybe also work for different competitors. And you can see this as a negative element, but you can also try to use this and try to maybe work together and see how can you share, because every event industry, every event company, they work with peak moments. And so yeah, you can't have all your people all the time with you, so you have those peak moments, and then flexi is perfect.
But also, and that's what I never really thought about, is at an event you need a lot of people, but you also need on key positions some really more experienced people, knowing that there is a group of people 30 plus with maybe very responsible jobs in their daytime are also willing and open, that there is a market for it, to come to your event and take some responsibility in a totally other context. It brings opportunities, because now we typically look at the very young people, interimers and people like that. But I think there's a real value to get some experienced people as well.
No, but definitely, but even people above 55. And for them, the local aspect is important, and the family feeling that they know other people that they're working at. So there needs to be a very good vibe. But also people above 55, 65, they really like to work. Maybe for them it's maybe less about the money, but variation, seeing people, structuring their life. So there's a lot of opportunity, not only for people in their 20s, but definitely older. And the beautiful thing is that if you have a team surrounding you of different generations, different age groups, it's way more interesting for the audience, because they can relate to, they can listen to each other, they can help each other out. It's also like if you're, and I think we talked about that a few years ago. If you're surrounded by different generations as a company, you're smarter. Your reaction on problem is way better, because you have the ability to think from the other perspective. That's why a lot of startups fail, because you only have people in their young 20s surrounding them. So make that variation, and thanks to Flexi, it's interesting. Yeah, but yeah.
The last trend we were going to talk about. Now I'm really thinking, because you mentioned some term, but I'm not in the target audience group. I think, because I can't remember it. Please help me.
Yeah, it's Delulu. It is. Yeah, it's funny. Delulu, but
yeah, you need to explain that, because you tried before, but you lost me.
Yeah. Well, you need to remember, Delulu is your Solulu.
Okay, now I'm more lost.
No, but it is just a hype on TikTok, and um, but I think it's way more deeper than that. Maybe today is a hype, but yeah, underneath there is some powerful ideas.
Then maybe
During
let's start with explaining what it is about, because
Yeah,
I have the feeling more people in the audience might not recognize it.
Delulu is delusional thinking,
Okay.
and delusional thinking is kind of harsh, is negative, but Delulu is fun. And maybe before we try to give examples, take a step back. During COVID, our well-being dropped.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a research done by Lululemon, the fashion brand, at the end of last year. And we saw that actually global well-being is the same as in 2009, 2020. So yes, we're not stuck down at our homes, uh, but we're not feeling good. And definitely amongst Generation Z and men apparently as well.
Okay.
The great thing about the report was that there is a solution. Apparently, people are more happy, or people that sport in a regular basis together with other people. They give more time to their loved ones, friends, dearest friends. And they are opening up a wide range, a wide scala of emotions. So they not only talk about the positive emotions,
Mhm.
but also the searching ones, the
So if you
negative
do
ones.
those three things, you feel better.
You feel better. Wow. Is that
We solve the world problems.
We solve all those wars just
Just don't do padel
do padel.
or the new thing.
Yeah, do some pickleball. Spend some time with your friends. Now, what we see during 2019, 2020, people start manifesting, start imagine a positive outcome, and so that by manifesting, we become that positive outcome. That's why all the time on Instagram, so people are sharing positive thoughts. You can do this.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's very happy and
Everybody's wonderful. And if there's something negative in your life, embrace the positivity. And other people have different problems. Like
yeah.
we are okay. And people are reinventing their career. They're reinventing their life. Everything is possible, and you're in power of your control and your future, whatever. But we saw this past years that actually this has a negative impact. So you don't talk about positivity, you actually talk about toxic positivity.
Yeah, you must feel
You must
positive.
feel positive. You are able to create that $1 million business. You are able to lead this type of life as long as you manifest that you understand. But then you just wake up and you're completely tired and you don't know what to do, and I don't know, you're stressed or you whatever, how you feel, and then you see all those positive thoughts, and actually those positive thoughts makes a very negative impression on you, and suddenly you're only watching Netflix, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that if you look at Delulu is maybe a younger answer to this, is maybe an evolution to manifesting, where we keep on trying to stay positive in this fucked up world, with a lot of uncertainty. I need to deal with this a lot as a future thinker, because it used to be way more fun to talk about the future. But there's a lot of negativity, but people try to stay positive. The only reason why people wake up. But it's not just by manifesting, but by being delulu, by delusional, by thinking on a positive way, on a very delusional way. So, an example: you have a crush on someone, and you're texting, but your crush is not responding. So rationally, drama, the feelings are not mutual.
Yeah.
That's your realistic self, and probably that's also true. But from a Delulu perspective, you just keep in mind, well, maybe he's writing a love letter.
Mm-hmm. And it takes more time now.
It takes more time, so just be patient. And so, but the way you pronounce it, the way you address this, the way you talk about this online, is you actually know that's not true. But what if?
And you make a little bit fun of it.
And you make a little bit fun of it. So if you look at Delulu, it is a vibe. It is funny. It's laughing with yourself, but keep on being positive. It is somehow is a coping mechanism, definitely. It's also a bit of trying to stay positive, but it's also maybe talking about mental problems or talking about difficult problems in a fun way. Because by saying, well, maybe he's writing a love letter, you actually show that you are weak. You show that you're waiting. You show that you like, and if you only say stay positive, then you don't show your doubts, your negative emotions. You just keep on being happy while the world is gone off.
Yeah, and I think I'm not the person who will do that, but there are creative people out there who can take that vibe and convert it into a clubbing concept or in a festival, or there is something happening which can be used also for events.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one of the most easy answers is please be careful with all those events saying that you can do your own startup and that you can stay strong and you can stay positive and you can watch out, because it's not true. People sometimes feel very left behind or stuck, or and understand that there are other types of emotions, and maybe be a bit more delulu, maybe a bit more try to have, and maybe it's also connected to the wild and the weird and the ugliness that we talked about, but don't only say that people need to be positive. There is a broader scale of emotions, and maybe humor, maybe be a little bit of delusion can help talk about other types of emotions, can help people connect with each other during events on a deeper level, and maybe help people forward.
All right, Tom. Thank you again for sharing all those insights you've gathered in the last few years to project on the future. Thank you for coming over.
You're welcome. Let's say a bit delulu.
Indeed, we will. And you at home, thank you for watching our show. I hope to see you next week.